And that's why I keep saying, if the Bible is eroded and not seen as a confident, the scriptures are there, then everything becomes subjective in that way.
As I mentioned earlier, one of the most common questions I receive is, how do you know when it's time to leave? How do you know when it's time to move on and to even start warning others? I wonder how you navigated that. What was the, proverbial straw that broke the camel's back for you, where you knew, okay, this has gone too far. I can't be affiliated with this anymore.
It was when I started hearing the different understanding and view of what the scriptures are. And that was one point. I keep coming back to that because that's
good,
so
yeah.
critical. Because there are good reasons people have different interpretations of various end times things. Like, there's credible, wonderful scholars who have differences of opinion on those. I just wish we shouldn't fight about those things today.
Yeah.
Like those are so peripheral. So, but for me, a leaving point, and this is what I encourage anybody, is when you start seeing what is the usage of the scriptures, what is the viewpoint of the scriptures, don't just say they're inspired, or what does that mean? Like, what does that mean to them? And that to me is you still gotta be friends with people, but if you're partnering in ministry or placing yourself in a local church, that is so, so important. That's a big starting point. And then from there, what are these main beliefs about gospel, Jesus, salvation? Now we have to be asking, which maybe more you didn't before, sexuality questions, what are all of these things, because it all stems from the scriptures, and then and and that's it's too tricky. And that, like, I've pulled this out because I was going to talk to you. I forgot about. I was going to show you this. There's I know for people listening, there's a book that came out years ago called Awkward Moments Children's Bible. Have you ever heard of this?
No, but it sounds amazing.
All right. So for those that can't see this, it's on the cover is Noah's Ark, and then you'll see all the dead people floating, but it's drawn up like a child's, like a
it's
kid's
like
book.
this, real cartoony floating zoo picture with dead bodies floating in the water.
And then inside, they take one Bible verse, and then they draw pictures of it, and there'll be things like, all of the strange, bizarre Bible verses and a lot of the violent ones, and then they'll draw a graphic photo. But the back of this book, it basically says what it is most people are raised in the faith by their family. Young kids learned a few Bible verses taken out of context and accepted them without question. After decades of repetition and tradition, they understand we might put our beliefs on autopilot and just nod as the pastor repeats verses. And then it says that there's, it's no wonder that recent studies show an incredible lack of biblical knowledge among Christians. 55% are unable to even name the four Gospels. And it says, our goal, to get people to really read their Bibles and think for themselves. And we hope these illustrations and commentary will encourage readers to really read the Bible for themselves. And this guy's an atheist. Wow. So what you have is an atheist who is, he was an evangelical, and he ended up contacting him and things. And that got me thinking, like, what's happening? First it came out in books, then it's on memes, then it's in TikTok, because there's so much critique about Bible today. And that's why I keep saying, if the Bible is eroded and not seen as a confident, the scriptures are there, then everything becomes subjective in that way. And so that's always my big question for anyone is, what's your view of the scriptures? Because that comes out later. And this stuff fools people. I understand. If I was nominal, I'd be like, I didn't know that. I don't even want to say what's in here, but really graphic, you're going to sell your daughter to slavery, the passage out of Exodus. And then he has a guy getting money in a van, like like a kid's cartoon. Right.
Yeah.
But to me, it comes back to that for sure. I'd just say, and in churches that shift, if I'm in a church, if I ever did it to anyone in our church, I say it even to like, leave. If I'm ever saying something, like, get out of here. If I'm ever saying anything that's not like that, because it happens, and it's happening more and more.